Hey guys, real quick, only 40% of our viewers are actually subscribed, so let's change that right now. Hit that subscribe button right below. Denver Broncos at the Houston Texans. Texans favored by 1.5 here. Oh boy, Texans favored by 1.5. Vegas hasn't given up on the Texans. I just did for 1 week.
Swinging that way, right? It started off Denver favored, slight favorites.
Yeah, it's all within that band, right?
Yeah.
Where it's not a massive difference. But Houston favored by 1.5 here. They're just 3-4. Denver is 6-2. It is still a really good matchup, though, in the AFC. And and we're at this point where Houston can't slip up all that much right now.
Yeah.
And we're also at this point where if you think the Chiefs are eventually going to overtake the Broncos and win the AFC West, if you're of that mind, and you're of the mind that the Colts are still a juggernaut and probably going to win the South, then we're talking AFC playoff implications. If the Texans are going to get back into this thing and sneak into the playoffs, this is the type of game that they pretty much have to win.
It is, yeah. So, we said before that the third wild card spot in the AFC, like that's the spot that a bunch of teams are going to be looking at. That's the team, like if the AFC North continues to kind of be a strange division, all those teams could still be in that hunt. But like at least one good team, I think, is going to wrap up a wild card spot from the West, right? So whoever out of Denver, Chargers, and Vegas, and Kansas City don't win the division is going to get one wild card spot. If New England keeps up their run, the second team in that division is probably going to get a wild card spot. So theoretically, that leaves the third wild card spot for either just the third best AFC West team, if they're all really good, or if one of those teams falls off, then you start to bring in Jacksonville, Houston, like the other teams who could have a shot at that wild card spot. But yeah, if the West keeps winning, Houston's running out of margin for error now.
The point you made, was it Monday morning, talking about the Texans and how the offense looked great against the Niners, and if you go back to the games where the offenses look good,
yeah,
how it's coincided against teams that can't really create pressure.
This has already burned me at least once, I think twice this season, where
just let it burn, man.
I'm most confident in this line. Like this is by far the most level of confidence I have in a single game this week. Denver's defense and Denver's pass rush, even without Patrick Surtain, is going to do unspeakable things to that Houston offensive line. And when that happens, the Houston Texans are probably not winning a game. Now, you've got the flip side of that is, you just talked about what Houston's defense was able to do to the Seattle offense and Sam Darnold. The Denver offense has been far from consistent and far from, regularly excellent this season. So it may be a very low-scoring game and a complete defensive battle, but I have zero confidence in Houston's offense being able to do anything.
All right, I'm going to see if I got my trusty time to pressure rate chart from Sam Hoppin.
Okay.
I'm going to try to describe it to you, and this is trying to describe the Texan season here. So they're 3 wins, and you would say the 3 times where their offense looked the best: Tennessee, Baltimore, and San Francisco. They are San Francisco, the bottom of pressure rate. Baltimore, bottom 6. Tennessee, bottom 8. They're all at the, you can't even see it.
A professional,
the very bottom.
A professional show might have, prepped this and had a graphic ready to roll.
No, I'm just doing this it's better on the fly.
Pen
it's
and a
better
piece
on
of
the fly. These 3, they're all at the bottom.
That doesn't show.
Yeah, I would have gone into Microsoft Paint and circled these teams. Now, the teams that gave them problems: Tampa Bay, Los Angeles. We're talking Rams are top 5, Bucks are top 2. This is all what from NFL Pro. Their pressure percentages. Jacksonville's kind of on the low end, actually, and they still lost that game. But the teams and then Seattle's pretty high. They're in the top. So the 3 teams that gave them a ton of problems: Bucks, Rams, Seahawks, all top 5, top 6. Denver is in their own world of number 1
best pass rush in the
pressure
NFL.
rate, right? So the oversimplification of the Texans' offense in their season, when they face teams that get a lot of pressure, they've struggled. When they've faced teams that have not gotten pressure,
and not just
don't rush the passer, they've been good.
In those 4 defeats, they are averaging like 15 points on offense.
Yeah.
Like they don't just get they don't just struggle relatively. They get basically shut down. I mean, the Rams, they scored 9 points, Jacksonville 10, and then 19 for Tampa Bay and Seattle. Like, this is likely to be a Rams-type performance where if the Texans' offense gets into double digits, they've probably achieved something in this game.
It is at home.
Yep.
That helps a little bit.
Sure.
Right? So you don't have the crowd issues and everything. That should help at least against the pass rush. The whole snap count thing, the way Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper jumped the snap.
Yeah.
That's maybe a little bit better at home, but it's also quieter, so you can hear it. But so you gotta mess with the snap count here. It's an interesting matchup. It's an interesting battle here. And then but you got to be honest about the other side here, Sam. You can't be that confident in the game because Bo Nix and the Broncos on the other side. Nix is hot right now, look great, but you have similar questions about him going up against a depleted Cowboys defense last week. Looked great. He had one good quarter against the Giants. He had one okay quarter against the Jets. It took him till the fourth quarter against the Eagles. They put together one good game offensively in a month.
Yeah.
And it was last week against a bunch of backups in Dallas. Now you're going up against the Texans defense, which, by the way, is as good as Denver. Maybe back, they're two of the best in the league. If you want to rank them, they're two of the best with their pass rush and their corners and what they have. So that's why the over-under is like 10, right? So 39.5.
It's not a similar question, though, because the difference is Denver has very good pass protection.
They do. That
they will
matchup's
struggle.
Great.
They will struggle more than they'll obviously struggle more against Houston's defense than they did against Dallas's defense because Dallas's defense is ass and Houston's defense is good, right? So it's going to be harder this week, but what won't change to that degree is that Bo Nix will still have good pass protection, right? They will be tested more. But it's not like you're going to run into a game where suddenly Bo Nix is running for his life every single play. They're just getting wrecked. He's being swarmed. And it's a different thing than C.J. Stroud is going to be dealing with. C.J. Stroud in this game is likely to be under pressure. Half of his dropbacks, spend most of his time running for his life, not be able to settle in the pocket for any period of time, and might start playing worse because he's expecting pressure every play now. That shouldn't happen to Bo Nix. So as much as, he might struggle more. They're going to have a tougher time, et cetera, et cetera. It's a different problem. Like, it's a problem where he can still at least play well because he's not going to be under pressure like 50% of the time.
Broncos are number one. I think it's ESPN's pressure rate, offensive line, pressure rate from the offensive line. They're number one there. Number one in ESPN's pass rush win rate. Number one in PFF's pass blocking grade. Like you have multiple sources. Sometimes they don't agree. Usually when they agree, though, you're landing on a pretty good spot. Denver's pass blocking is among the best in the league so far this year.
Yeah, Ben Baldwin's composite thing where he throws those three things together, PFF, SIS, and ESPN, they're all 100. I assume these are like percentiles or whatever.
Yeah, those are percentiles, yeah.
They're all 100, but so it spits out a score of 100 as the composite score. The next closest team is at 85. So they are by far and away the best pass blocking unit in the NFL this year.
It really is. It is a great matchup. I love it. I think there's playoff implications. The one last thing I just want to mention about Nix and the Broncos, a commenter yesterday on the show, because we responded to Keep Talib saying, Bo Nix, hands down, best quarterback from last year's draft class.
The numbers.
The commenter on the YouTube channel said something to the effect of there's always some random players where nobody can have a middle ground on the player and just say he's a good player. It's kind of like the Shedeur thing. Like Shedur's either completely unable to play in the NFL right now, or he's just
should have been a first-round pick. Held back by the system.
Should have been number one overall. The whole league screwing him over. Right? There's no middle ground. Bo Nix has become kind of that person because you could find stats that say this dude's off to an incredible start in his career and this and that, and then you just watch the games and it's like, man, there's some games where he's not that great. And then once you write him off, like early in the season, it's like, man, this dude's making some throws. Last week, man, he's got Pat Bryant in the back of the end zone, hits Cortland Sutton on the bang 8 in the end, for a drop touchdown. So Bo Nix is just good. Like, can he just be good? And he's going to have some good games, and he's going to have some bad games. Like not a lot of normal conversations around Bo Nix for some reason.
No, but I mean, part of that is a problem of like what is a guy and what is he on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
I mean, that's That's part of the issue here is that you're dealing with, trying to evaluate how good a player is, but then in any given week, that guy could be radically different. Like, what is Sam Darnold, right? Based off the fact that he could be non-functional for two of the most important games last season and basically an all-pro for the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, the middle-tier quarterback, which is QBs 8 through 20 in my world, they rotate, and they're sometimes good and they're sometimes bad. And everybody's always right.
Everyone's always right.
Everyone's always right. The Derek Carr, the Jameis Winston, the Jimmy Garoppolos. Gosh, Bo Nix fans are going to be like, you just put them in the same conversation as him. Blah, blah, blah. I love this matchup. It's Sunday at 1, Houston by 1.5. All right. I was the biggest believer in Houston all year.
Yeah.
I doubted them last week
Yep.
against a team from the West Coast at 1
sucked you right
o'clock
back
at
in.
home, and they crushed San Francisco. But this one's different, right? This will be different. I know where you're going with this.
I am absolutely hammering Denver. I was taking them when they were 1.5-point favorites. I'm certainly taking them now. They're 1.5-point dogs.
We should have mentioned no Patrick Surtain.
Did mention it, but go ahead.
You did? Sorry. I don't hear every word that you say sometimes.
Listen rather than hear, but yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a big deal.
It is, yeah. I mean, we talked about that
we talked more about it yesterday.
A lot. That, look, Patrick Surtain doesn't just affect the coverage, which will be obviously a huge difference, but he also affects the pass rush. I mean, Surtain not being there to cover as long as you need him to is going to change the impact, change what impact that front can make. So, yeah, it's a huge loss for them. I still kind of like their cornerback group, and again, the fact that they have the best pass rush in the NFL should help that loss, but it's absolutely a massive loss for them, particularly with Nico Collins should be back in the lineup for Houston, and he's an elite caliber wide receiver.
All right. All that said, even without Surtain,
Yep.
I'll take Denver.
Oh.
As will Harry.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video.
Check the Mic is live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss a video.
You heard the man. Subscribe.